guys, Asher, I'm not alone. I am joined by Saf. Saf, what's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm tired. That's the best way to do it. It has been it feels like I've been in a war. Actually have fought a siege battle physically with armor.
Dude, my game is crashing, by the way. For you guys are going to see my beautiful background. Luckily, we don't need, I guess, full context here, but every time I go to load my game and I click on siege, it crashes. Hopefully I'm not the only one, man. I don't know what is going on right now. But anyway, eventually we'll get there, guys. How are you enjoying Clan Siege? Right now, the community is in an uproar. Saf, you were just alluding to it. You're taking control. I guess one of the commanders, generals, whatever, lieutenants.
Yep. I lead my clan. That's true. Yeah.
And we have some early feedback, but so does the community here. First of all, I want to zoom all the way out. Like, do you think that it's early to say or too emotional to say that this has been a failure at launch? Like, let's start with a little positivity. Do you like the feature at all? Do you see some promise here?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of these problems, unfortunately, is as with anything, the whole system is okay. But certain little issues are so much of a big problem that it kind of brings the whole system into disrepute in that sense. I like the concept. I like the progressive nature of it. Feel like this is where like that kind of map roaming feature really feels good. There's multiple different ways. Like we faced a situation where there was a really strong defense in one post. We could bypass it, go a different route. That was fun. It's quite cool to have that level of clan coordination, even if the system itself doesn't allow you to do it within the game, which is a pretty significant problem, I'll be honest. It's very hard to manage things across multiple members. But overall, it's got a good base of a game mode.
There's something there. Like, with all our complaints, and there's going to be quite a few, we're going to rattle them off here, because I know Plarium watched this video too, and I'm sure they're aware, frankly, of like, there's a lot to be desired here. With matchmaking, rewards, they did go into their credit and immediately kind of improve on those rewards. I think that they seem kind of solid with some massive caveats, which we'll touch on. What do you think of just in a vacuum, the rewards where they stand right now?
I think it's better. I'm glad that they stepped in, and to be fair, and I think I mentioned this in my rewards video, to credit Plarium, they didn't just do a little bit here and a little bit there. They significantly improved what was there. Yeah. You would want to question who thought it was good enough to leave it in its current state to begin with.
They set they set that bar so low that it was one of those psychological tricks where they're like, hey, now we made them 100 times better, but they still stink. Hey, you know?
Well, it's almost like when they did the video and the promotion material, did no one go, wow, 3 primal quartz? Like, surely someone in the QA or marketing team were like, guys, this just doesn't look that good. I know it scales, but then they came out like, don't worry, it's going to scale. I'm like, yeah, but it scales to 25 and you can only win these twice a week. So it's like, what, a primal shot was it 2 months?
Yeah.
And that assumes you win. Like,
so the rewards, they did go in, they touched those. At least they're like decent, you can argue, and I would love to hear from you guys what you think of the rewards. But the biggest thing, I want to outline the complaints. By the way, I already asked Plarium for an interview as well. I think they're going to accept, but I don't want to knock on wood. It's not 100%. So I will share any feedback that you guys get from your clans in the comments below, because people are mad on Reddit, on forums, on Discord. Like, people are very, very, very angry, and I felt like we should talk about it. So rewards. The biggest thing that I know my clan was shocked by, probably your clan too, is that unless you're winning a battle, you get no rewards at all.
Yeah, this is a massive failure of the system at the moment, where they have it reminds me of Clan Quest. You remember when Clan Quest first came out and we quickly were like, but guys, you've only allowed us to have 30 quests, so how do we distribute 30 quests to 30 clan members?
When they put you in a position,
pick 3. It's like, you know, it was quite obvious that if you give someone 3 attack scrolls and there's 60 defenders, then clearly there's like 10 members that might not be able to even take part, which is dumb, to be honest, because obviously everyone has to put a defense up normally. Yeah,
so like my clan, it was a scramble for like, okay, don't get attacking in, but then don't attack, don't wait, like let everybody else, you know, and it was kind of a nightmare. Luckily, we were able to facilitate in our clan, but I imagine that wouldn't be the case for everybody out there. So, I mean, an easy fix for that is like, to me, as long as you set your defenses, like as long as you're active, no matter what it is, defending, attacks, defense, donations, whatever, as long as you're active in the war and your clan wins the siege, you ought to reap the same benefits. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think it's worth establishing, like, there's obviously a reason behind this, because what they don't want is clan members to just sit and coast and get free gear rewards from their clan, right? They clearly want to make it an engagement
need participation
thing,
yeah,
a bit like CVC. But the problem is the way that they structured it is the problem, because someone could be like, for example, I think a lot of clans are going for this like stronghold first approach. Put all your best defenders in your stronghold. Makes sense. Well, if your best defenders on the outer rim can't be beaten, well, all of your big hitters are just sitting in the stronghold, kind of chilling, not getting attacked. So you can't defend against no one. So there's one problem. So basically 50% of the requirement for you to participate is gone. And then attacking is like, well, okay, well, if I've attacked someone and if all the posts are gone and I can't attack anyone that's left, I think, you're in a similar situation where you've used one attack squad. There's nothing left to attack.
I feel like the whole game mode, I did one attack. I barely got it in. I felt like, right?
Yeah,
on a random outpost because people played. And then I'm like, okay, I'm raring to go here. Here we go. And then it's just like, wait, that's it. And my game's crashing again because I went to the siege screen. Awesome.
So I do think like the solution is to basically open up more participation, sort of like checkpoint considerations. Like I would suggest if someone fights in a mana shrine, because you get one free fight in a mana shrine, that should count as a participation.
Yeah,
right. It should count. And I also think if you set a defense, not a reserve team, an actual defense, and that defense is not attacked, it should count as if you were attacked but you won.
Because people may have avoided you. Yeah,
you defended the siege.
You defended.
You're participating. Like,
I hear you.
If you don't put a defense and you don't attack anything, then you get nothing. That's fine. I think everyone would accept that.
Okay.
But you can't like physically, like, and we got to remember, like, time zones. Time zones are a massive factor. This is a big thing with Arena.
True.
Why a lot of people don't do Platinum Arena, because of time zones.
Yep.
If someone comes in at the start of attack phase and like there's 10 members online, well, they could clear half of the siege on their own, because they get 30 attacks. There's only 60 defenses. So 10 people can clear half the siege map. So by the time you come in, either you're left with like the things that they couldn't do and you can't do, because not everyone is going to be a Kraken. It makes a massive headache for clan leadership, because now we're not just thinking about how do we win, we're also thinking about how do we win by also ensuring everyone gets a chance to be able to fight someone that they can fight. And every clan isn't going to have like 30, like, unless you're in like something like IPR or GNL or, Eternal Titans or Mad or something like that, whatever is currently the top. Unless you're in one of those top arena clans, not every member of that clan is going to be an arena focused player. Pretty much, I would say 90% of the player base are not going to be arena players. So how do I structure the thing where I can ensure that everyone, as a clan leader, because that's my role, gets a shot? And it is it's like a horrific nightmare. Because I don't want to disadvantage my members. I don't want them to feel like they shouldn't try. That's I think the two solutions are really, really easy fix.
Okay, I agree with you there. These are the good news is, the bad news is this sucks. Good news is it's super easy fix. Really bad news is you can't see it, Saf, right now, but my game, every time I go to Clan Siege, dude, I don't know what is up right now. I updated everything, crashes every time, and it's getting infuriating. Okay, but we talked about that. Let's move it on. Number 2, or maybe number 1, in terms of what I see the complaints about, matchmaking, man. I feel for the clan that we're going against. I think we're 160-ish in the world. I don't know our clan. We're going against a 430-ish clan. Right now, we're being matched based on like CVC, which is resource management and spending, right? Like those are the big factors.
Has nothing to do with Arena. Great matchmaking concept.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, first of all, matchmaking is going to improve as we start taking into consideration these results, right? So like, I was prepared for people to be upset about bad matchmaking. However, to me, it just, the question begs itself. Why don't they match based on, or at least weigh in terms of a factor, the aggregate player power of a clan versus another clan, right? Because, I mean, isn't that a fairly good indicator, robust indicator of how strong a clan is, artifacts and champions?
I agree. And I think they should have also made sure they don't tell people how they were going to matchmake, because the problem is
exploits.
You could artificially inflate, get your first win, if that makes sense. If you knew, for example, it was going to be based on player power or CVC, then you can just basically, like, maybe they just tank the CVC completely. True. You can tank CVCs. You could add in a bunch of stupid farm accounts on the very bottom. You could just take all the gear off your players or something like that to reduce your player power. But I think player power is a reflection of a strength of an account, right? We all know that player power is a bit deceiving in terms of resistance. Like Mythicals, for example, kind of get double player power because it counts both forms. But it is also a very good indicator when it comes to arena strength of how strong a team is, at least in terms of core basic stats. And I think my experience from playing the siege mode, it is the core basic stats that matter, because you can't abuse like arena auras. They don't work. So you have to like go on like, okay, does my +6 Sippy just have too much speed? Do I just have too much accuracy? Do I just have too much resistance to be able to win, if that makes sense?
Okay. So don't
it's a bit
tell
unfair,
us, but have a healthier mix of weight
Yes.
on these matchups.
Yeah. Now, I do know,
like, if everything can be exploited, Saf, then include everything, but don't tell us the weights, you know? Like, people are going to basically data mine eventually anyway, but as time goes and you can factor in the records and more data, then it should get better anyway inherently, right?
Well, they're going to change it going forward now to be based on your performance inside Siege. So at least now they've got a better metric.
Is that the very next one? Does that start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the next Sieges is going to be based on your tiering position within because obviously there's like a tiered system, which is very confusing because you get victory medals, which is for defeating towers. And then if you win or lose fights, you get victory points, which is based on the tiering. So for example, at tier 6, every time you win, you get +6. Every time you lose 6 of that. Not medals, not the things that you get, the artifacts, but the actual tiering system. So they're going to match you based on your performance in those numbers. So if you get to like 1200, for example, then hopefully it should redistribute all the clans, which means that next matchup, you're probably going to find you're going to get a much harder one. Whereas in my clan, we've managed to draw a top 50 clan. We're probably not going to have to face that next time around because they'll get matched up, hopefully, against an equally powered, I suppose, matchup. But then that creates problems in itself.
Right? Matchmaking is tough, especially in a game like this, to be real. Like, to be fair, when you're playing a dirty pay to win game like Raid, it's going to be tricky to get those perfect matchups. You know, it's almost like for the top 300, 400, 500, 1,000 clans, it's almost like your only good bet is to hand pick, you know, like to go in there and just be like, well, these two clans. And honestly, that might only take an intern a few hours to do, to be honest with you, you know?
Yeah.
If like, it's not that hard. I mean, I could do it if I had a day to do it. But either way, okay, so matchmaking's a big issue. I can see some clans out there. There's infighting. There's there's a couple clans like breaking up over this stuff. And like, I would just caution everybody, clan leaders out there, like yourself, Saf, that like patience, right, in a feature like this, and even my clan, like we're semi-competitive, our clan, I guess I would say. We go for a Hydra clash, we go for clan versus clan, but we're treating this first couple sieges as like, okay, let's just attack and learn as we go, and it's not life or death, you know. Try to get everybody to get rewards. All right, now let's just rattle off some other feedback here for the developers, right, and to see if the viewers have the same experience. So number one is, dude, this might sound like the smallest thing, but I was so disappointed in two things. Number one is, like, I come from Clash of Clans way back in the day, man. And in Clash of Clans, when somebody's attacking, it is a moment to be celebrated and joined in on the entire clan, right? So live viewings, right? I want to watch my clanmates as they're attacked, root them on in the chat. Let's go, Saf. Come on, man. Like, and as the attacker, you feel this weight in this moment and this gravity. Like, everybody's watching me, the defenders, the attackers, especially as it gets down to a close battle. There's nothing better. When Siege is at its best, when Clan Wars are at its best, it's when it's a close battle down at the end of the clock, right? And you just feel that weight, that momentum, those moments, and that's what the addiction, and that's what makes a great feature to me. But you can't even watch battles. Moreover, forget about live spectating, because I think that could come in the future. Like, I think this is the version 1, right? But, dude, there's no like robust battle log, bro.
No,
like I woke up, I'm like, let's see how my clanmates did, and I'm like, dude, there's not even, you go to the results tab or whatever the heck it is, or the battle log. It sounds like it's going to be a battle log, but you have to click on every damn little outpost and stronghold, and then even there, it's not even super intuitive. What the hell's going on, you know? So, man, I was hoping for a real easy, like, wouldn't that be the easiest low-hanging fruit? Just like a battle log where actually you see all the battles?
You know what they've done? They've basically gone, we don't need to add actually any coordination features. People just figure that out somehow, won't they? Oof. They'll figure it out, because there's like nothing.
I hope it's
there's
coming,
no way,
man. I don't want to be unfair, but
as a leader, like, I'm looking for things like for clan members to almost go, oh, I can maybe take this on. This is my team suggestion. And then I can review suggestions and say, I want you to fight it, and almost like assign it within the game. There is no way to assign anything within this game. You know, even something as basic as, say, like one of our clan members attacks a tower and loses, there's a notebook field that they can just write notes. You know, like, oh, this team was like faster than 400 speed. This team was all super, all stone skin. Oh,
Nothing.
this team needs bombers, blah, 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 blah. There's nothing. Like, I literally have no more information about whether someone succeeded or not. All I know is they lost. Great.
Dude,
that doesn't help me at all.
It's like you got to rely on their crappy clan chat and then scrolling up or whatever, or
let's face it.
How is your clan going about that? And again, I know we're being very passionate, very negative here, and probably mirroring and echoing all the comments and everything that we've seen from you guys this morning. But I think we want this so bad to be a success, right? So we just want Playermy to hear this feedback and to take action. Again, I'm sure they probably are aware of a lot of this stuff. So, and I'm just getting, my game's crashing every other second here. So there must be, hopefully they're going in and fixing some of this stuff right now, Saf. But how do you feel about all that? What's your clan doing to mitigate all the lack of infrastructure for communication and coordination?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm part of a cluster where we're generally extremely coordinated, right? We have roster spreadsheets. We have like the ability for clans members to move up and down depending on how they feel about CVC. We have good Hydro-Clash coordination. I'm generally, you have a good, strong, powerful Discord. So for us, we're like, you would consider the most best position to try this.
Yeah.
And I've had to build planning spreadsheets, document systems. I've had to basically... The way we did the attack in the end was we would literally be in voice chat going, here's the next post, who wants to take it? Here's the next post. Because at the back of my mind, I know what I'm facing and what's next, because you can't see anything until you get to the next stage. I can't just like look at the whole siege and divvy out the responsibilities and assignments. And I guess I know why they do that, because obviously they want to make it harder. But the way that is implemented, you have to almost go iteratively, one by one. Can you take it? Yes. And almost like start with your weaker members to try and get that balance power of making sure you still got enough big hitters by the time you find all of the enemy's big hitters. Because what you don't want to do is like almost like, use your best people right up front, and then you can't beat the harder ones because other members could have taken it. So from an organized clans position, it's not easy. It's really hard to coordinate everyone. And it's funny because, as you were saying, you kind of jump in, do your one attack, and you're done for the day. But if you're in charge of actually running it, it's like a full-time job. I've literally spent hours the last 2 days coordinating defenses, attacks, trying to get, give even as basic as people who are excited to give it a go, who are not typically super experienced at fighting the competitive meta.
Yeah.
And they have the ability, but they don't have the experience. So our experienced members trying to give support. And that is actually really, really positive. Cool. I really want to highlight that. People enjoy that. It's just a real shame there's nothing in the game to help that process. Yeah. Absolutely nothing.
No, I think that's a great note to kind of wrap on a bit, is that there is a lot of promise here. There's a lot of ugly to look past, but like I have been asking for a feature like this for so long, clan versus clan, a real clan versus clan. And I did. There's a lot of good underneath all this ugly. There is,
yes.
But can we get there? Will they get there soon enough lest these clans and players get disenfranchised along the way? And I hope that answer is yes. I hope we can get there. And that's our feedback. Saf, I know you got to go and you've been generous with your time and feedback as well. You got to get back to the lieutenant dude, the clan leader duties, man. Get back to that spreadsheet.
I know, right?
But any final notes on your side that we didn't touch on that you wanted to see addressed here before we let you go?
I think we've touched it pretty good. I would say, the big things, one of the major things we didn't quite mention, but I should mention it. Actually, when matchmaking sorts itself out, it's going to be a bit frustrating because unless you are like superior to the opponent, it's really hard to hold a defense, because as much as there's conditions, like the power curve of the game means that unless you've got the best champions of that condition, then you're probably going to lose to the person in the clan that has it. It's very hard to hold a defense against equally powered people.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if you don't hold your stronghold, you can't ever get the 7,000 reward, because you just can't earn enough points. So the way that they've structured these rewards, like if both people defeat both strongholds and both people clear the entire map, then it's a complete tiebreaker, because you earn the same amount of medals because it's a fixed known quantity. So how does that even breach the tiebreaker rule? I feel like
I'm all about moments, man. I want to see a head-to-head battle on a tiebreaker, But like,
I just feel like the reward thing is just it's ill thought out, and if they could fix that and make it more exciting, I feel like they need to maybe push it to 4 at a minimum. Because I was assuming you would get 12, but the reality is when you start getting equal matchups, which will happen over the next month, you're never going to get that 7,000 against an equally matched opponent. It's never going to happen, because they're going to take too much of your towers down. It's just too easy because it's classic arena. Live arena is different. We can force ban, we can play it, we can choose how our defenses work. Like I can abuse like Armand's because I know he's on AI. So therefore, either he's going to open with A3 or A2, but he won't like go and target the threat necessarily with his A3 like you can in Live Arena. So I think that's a problem that they need to make sure they keep on top of. That matchmaking, when it normalizes, doesn't become like this weird, we kill you, you kill us stalemate, which could happen. Right now, it's like very, very like troughs. You had an easier matchup. We're having like a hard matchup. And we're in an even fit. But eventually, it's going to normalize where we will probably be able to clear everything that they can probably clear. And it becomes a bit boring then. So that's one thing I'd say keep in mind of.
You're right, man. I'm very interested. As I said, when I have Plarium on an interview, we'll talk a lot about Siege and get their responses to a lot of these pain points. Thanks so much for coming on, Saf. And I can't wait to hear from you guys in the comments below. Do you care about Clan Siege? Are you frustrated? Are you happy as you see some silver lining that we don't see? Let us know your experience so far in the comments below. Check out HH Gaming Network for all the latest on Saf. And I saw you filling in for Hades too, the big fella. I saw you on his channel as well. So you can see Saf basically everywhere. Also work with you on our soon to be dead Dragonair channel and behind the scenes at Fateless too. So Saf and I work together all the time. It's been a pleasure chatting with you here on the channel, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. And as always, it was fun.
It was fun indeed, guys. Thanks for watching. And as always, take care.